What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Gauntlet, your place for the NFL and everything else here on the Sideline Sports Network. I'm joined with JJ to my right, Dom down in the bottom left, and special guest Jacob. Jay was not feeling well tonight, so we had him sit out. Jacob's in the house, though, so you know it's going to be an entertaining show. What's up, guys?
What's going on? It's a little different of a square box trying to figure this part, but it's kind of cool. I like the offstage.
Yep, that's what everyone keeps saying about our new platform that we're using for live stream. We're not using StreamYard like most of the people use. The thing that we call or using called Evamux. It's very interesting. Has a lot of interesting features that StreamYard doesn't have, which is the main reason I wanted to try it out. So just trying to do different things, guys. So I guess we'll start with our rapid fire segment, which we know here is step into the gauntlet. So I'm going to start. For those of you that don't know how this works is we're going to run through a few topics. We got 60 seconds on the clock. We're going to run through as many topics as we can in 60 seconds. Questions, rapid fire, first thing that comes to your mind. The Eagles got exposed against the San Francisco 49ers. Yes or no?
Partially.
Nah.
Yes or no?
Nah. They'll figure this thing out. The best teams get their butt kicked. Sometimes they'll be fine.
I think they showed the matchup shows that if Philly can come back only if you can stop them. If you can't run the football, and I mean, let me change that. I think with the team like San Francisco can run the football, if they get up on Philly, that's the formula to close it out against them. And in the NFC, there's not too many teams I think do that, other than like maybe Dallas and Detroit. But I think that's what has kind of been the issue all along because the run defense used to be the strong point, but it's not.
I'm gonna say no, and the reason is because the way that they got exposed, I don't think is going to continue to stand, especially with some of the moves that they made. They brought in Darius Leonard. Nicholas Morrow gave up 175 yards and a touchdown in that game. So the 49ers attacked the Eagles' weakness, which is linebackers, but the Eagles have tried to shore that up, and I think they're going to be okay. The Baltimore Ravens are the best team in the AFC. Yes or no?
No.
Okay. No, anyway, so say that question again.
Baltimore Ravens are the best team in the
AFC. No. You know, I mean, they're good.
Shocked to hear JJ say no.
They're good, but they have some inconsistencies in certain areas. I don't think so.
Not necessarily that. I just haven't seen them against Patrick Mahomes. If they can beat Patrick Mahomes, then I'll say yes, they are. But that's the one person in the AFC that I actually have an issue with. I think we can beat any other team with no problem. It's just that team is the one team that I don't know just because of what he's done in our history.
Okay,
that's fair. I would say the exact same thing.
Dak Prescott should be the MVP. Yes or no?
Hell no.
I know what Dom was going to say.
No, Dak, no, because this is here's the deal. This is a long season. No one would have seen that the Bears' defense was actually trying to save Fields. No, and they're actually looking decent. No one would have seen San Francisco after we lose 3 in a row, then win near 4 in a row. No one would see anything like that. It's a long year. And the thing is, someone's going to catch Dak eventually, and it is Mike McCarthy.
Okay, fair enough. So, last one. I think I asked this question earlier this season. So I'm going to ask it again after last night's game. The Pittsburgh Steelers lost back-to-back games against 2 teams that were 2-10. Is it time for the Steelers to get rid of Mike Tomlin? Yes or no?
Way.
Last night.
Mike Tomlin has got to go. Yes or no?
No. Here's the thing. They are not that – the biggest thing is they're offensive. They are an offensive coordinator for just being respectable. They have terrible offensive coordinators. 4th and 2 last night trying to throw that ball, and he won. Anyone
Yeah,
that's a bad
what the hell
idea.
was that?
Especially.
You need 2 yards, so you go for 35?
Yes, especially when Mitch already had 2 touchdowns and he was starting to move the ball. He was starting to. And the funny thing was, I looked on the fantasy points last night. He had 20. That was the funny part of it. So he actually moved the ball. But the biggest thing about it is they have terrible play callers. They get a real play caller, especially when they have regular defense like they do. They'll be fine. But it's like
So,
the thing is, they'll probably go 9-8 again.
so to be honest with you, knowing this team very well, the basis of this team is not there anymore. One thing about Pittsburgh throughout the years when they were the most successful, their offensive line was strong and their front seven was also strong. They don't really have a linebacker inside that was like the James Ferriers, the Ryan Shaziers, and those guys. They haven't had that in a long time. And TJ Watt, he's great as he is, he's on the outside. And on offense, their offensive line is not good. A staple of a great Pittsburgh team is a great offensive line so they can run the football and then they can use whatever they want and hitting their wide receivers all across the board. They have talent except for in the position that is really what makes Pittsburgh Pittsburgh. Ground and pound, air it out with a good quarterback, and play good defense. They just don't have it.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have a good quarterback either. So, I mean,
Right. All three.
the question is, do you get rid of Pickett as well? So, I
think you
think
need to give him an offensive line first before you go there.
if you have to get rid of one, Mike Tomlin or Pickett, then which one are you going to get rid of?
Oh, Pickett. And but the thing is, get an offensive coordinator for anybody. I'm just
Fair
saying,
enough.
after last night, that obviously shows it.
Mike Tomlin
I don't think Mike Tomlin is the problem, though.
Mike Tomlin is Jeff Fisher with a ring.
No,
he is not. What is wrong with you? That is so disrespectful.
Dude, he's got 7 10-win seasons. Jeff Fisher would find 1 10-win season on
Jeff
Madden
Fisher
good.
sucks. Jeff Fisher and Mike Tomlin. Okay, we got to go to break.
Jeff Fisher would.
You know me. I love hyperbole.
Look, Jeff Fisher would be happy to win 10 wins on Madden.
Jesus Christ. Okay, Dom has just completely taken us off the rails, so we gotta go to Sports Moron of the Week.
I can't lie.
We gotta go to our Sports Moron of the Week, ladies and gentlemen.
You can sit there and put Dom for calling Dom a moron for what his last comment was.
Well, he may have just given himself the sports moron after that because that was ridiculous. But you know what? There's a lot of sports morons.
You can nominate me if you want. I'll take all the heat.
There's a lot of sports morons that we probably got to get to today. Does anybody want to start us off?
JJ,
I'll go real quick.
The top to go at.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Dom.
It's the Jacksonville Jaguars training staff, or lack thereof. Your franchise quarterback injures his ankle, and why do I see a security guard helping him limp off the field? Where's the cart? Where's the training staff? That is your franchise quarterback. He's 6'5", 243 pounds, and he's got his arm around a security guard limping off the field. Like, come on, Jacksonville. This is why you belong in London.
They had been a team that was losing a lot of money a little while ago, and I
don't care how much money you lose. You're an NFL franchise. You got money to have a cart to take Trevor Lawrence to the locker room. You're not broke. I mean, you're an NFL franchise.
I mean, at the same time, did he walk off or was he limped off?
Oh, he walked off and limped
He basically could not walk, bro. Like, it was bad.
I think I saw that same.
He couldn't put any weight on his leg.
I would say I saw it's the same situation I've seen. I think over the weekend with another player, he was limping but walked up to. I think so. It was another team, so it's like maybe it's something that teams do depending on what the situation is. Mark Andrews did it, and Mark Andrews I think broke his ankle. Yeah, like I think at the end of the day, I think it's just something that they do. Because at the end of the day, you have to remember they don't know what's actually going on. They're doing that to see if he really is okay, or maybe it's something that just needs to take time. It didn't.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm with Dom on that one. I think that's very moronic of the Jaguars. But JJ, if you don't have one, I'm gonna go ahead.
All right, I got one. I got one perfect one.
What you gonna say, Jacob?
I got a perfect one. The Carolina Panthers medical staff. All week long, we heard about Hayden Hurst. He has basically PTSD from a hit. They were talking about that it could end his career. He's on the practice field 2 days later. His dad was even brought up what it had, and they're on the practice field 2 days later. And that's the
Yeah,
thing.
he's
It's
got
like,
some kind of amnesia from some hit that he took.
and then he's back on the field 2 days later, and it's like, where are we at as far as an organization, and what makes him think he needs to be back on that field in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, it's really messed up to see,
I mean, if I
what
was on the
injuries
Panthers, I'd be ready to
injuries and
get back
how
on
they
the
can
field.
affect players like long term. Like more so when you see a lot when players retire and then it comes out like brain damage and concussions and CTE and all the stuff that they were dealing with. And it's a major concern, and the NFL certainly does not want some kind of situation like that on their hands. So, yeah, the Panthers not really known for being a great organization that handles things very well. So, yeah, very moronic, I would say.
Yep, no question. And no, the biggest issue we have with the organizations that, like, we had this with Jacksonville. Now
Hold
we're
on,
talking
Jacob.
about Carolina.
Hold on, Jacob. Let me pause you right there. I need somebody, whoever's got a TV on, I need you to put on mute, please.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. Jacob, go ahead.
Okay, that was the biggest issue is these organizations. You got to remember. Look at the record of look at the record of Carolina Panthers since Tepper. Is this a desperation to put him back on? Was he forced on, or does he think that he needs this or he'll lose his job?
This team has been going through it since before Tepper. It's kind of going through it since the last owner had to be removed. Just hasn't found their way.
Right.
Okay. So, guys, I think you should know who's going to be my sports moron.
Who would that be?
It's David Carr.
Oh, of course.
And his ridiculously stupid comments that he made about Jalen Hurts, saying that Jalen Hurts is holding the Eagles team back because he's quote unquote not 100% and they have a better chance to win if they have healthy Marcus Mariota starting this week against the Dallas Cowboys, which is pretty much the end of a tough stretch. You played the Bills, you played the 49ers, you played the Chiefs, and you went 3-1 in that stretch. If you beat the Cowboys and sweep the Cowboys and go 4-1 in that stretch, Jalen Hurts has been fine. Jalen Hurts has been winning the Eagles games. He's been very, very clutch when the team needs him the most. He always makes the plays. He's the reason that the Eagles are in this position. He's 27-3 in his last 30 regular season game starts.
I brought up
It's
Denzel brought it up himself. Denzel brought it up himself. We brought it up on Pundit last night. That was our first topic.
The guy, I don't know. I kind of want to blame the NFL Network for this too, because you're in a production meeting and the producers are like, yeah, you know what? That sounds right. Let's say that. Like when you get so desperate for shock value that you just say
Go ahead and
stuff
say
like
that.
this, it amazes me so much.
No,
I
producers.
think we live in a world more of letting people speak their mind freely, so I think that might be the reason why.
Well, here's the thing, JJ. I brought this up on Pundit last night. Producers are trying to get shock value and clicks.
We're talking about David Carr. Speaking of people that probably have CTE,
Right.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but yeah.
But no, but the thing I was saying though.
he did get sacked approximately 7,000 times in his NFL career.
Yeah, but absolutely, and there was 72 in 1 year. But I was saying though, the producers are on there trying to get clicks and everything. There's no question they're telling them you need a contrast, but the contrast is ridiculous.
True enough.
The contrast is ridiculous. You got to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely absurdly stupid take, guys, but we could go on and on about this.
I said it last night. There's a thin line between shock and idiocy. He said it last night. That's correct. And
that's true.
There is absolutely true. And it was a pundit topic, and we are proud to have that because I am absolutely saying, I'm not just going to say that the car was just hit too much because he was. I'm saying that I think producers has everything to do with this, and they threaten jobs if you don't follow law.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. So, Gauntlet Grinders this is the part where we look at the best performances of the week, best performing players, one from the AFC and one from the NFC. Talk about players who are really on their grind from the previous week. So, I gotta say, I'm very impressed by Jake Browning, who pulled off a big upset against the Jaguars, even though Trevor Lawrence got hurt. He made the plays in that game that he needed to make, and the Bengals keep their very, very slim playoff chances alive. And in the NFC, it's Jordan Love. You just got to give this guy so much credit for what he's done this season. There were so many questions about Jordan Love. Is he going to be able to fill Aaron Rodgers' shoes? He's going to do this, that. He's been doing the thing and winning games for the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay right in the thick of things in the NFC wildcard hunt. Big win for the Packers over the Chiefs on Sunday night. So I got Jordan Love and Jake Browning, 2 quarterbacks for my grinders.
You actually took my NFC guy because I was definitely going to go to Jordan Love as well, just because I think that was a really impressive victory. Sorry to do this to you, but I'm going to have to give it to Debo Samuel because that man had a purpose and he came out and executed that purpose. And then he backed up pretty much everything that he had proclaimed up until that point. And they made a purpose with that team. Kyle Shanahan had a good game plan, but Debo did out what Debo thinks. I got to give him that grinding because, I mean, when you
Yep.
talk and you back it, you back it. The AFC, I'll actually give it to Jamar Chase because one thing I noticed about Jamar Chase is that he's starting to not be as pouty as he used to be, like when I first were watching when he wasn't getting targets. And he gave Jake Browning exactly what he needed, which was a security blanket to go to anytime there was something going on. Like he was getting the ball force fed to him, and he delivered, which is what you would do
They've
when you're.
been force feeding him the ball for 5 or 6 weeks.
They have been, but they haven't been as productive with this one. This time, he kind of got out of his head and was productive in his situation. So I got to give it to Mr. Jamar Chase, even though he helped me. I lost money because of it. It's cool. He grinded.
Denzel's gauntlet grinder is Stingley.
Yep.
Two
Saw that in the comments.
interceptions off Sierra's husband in a win over the stay alive in the playoff race. Good for him. But no, I got two. The first one, I'm going to give Justin Fields credit for the week. It wasn't a great game, but he finally came through in the clutch. Finally, and he had gotten two fumbles. It looked all over with. It looked like they would lose 10-9, and then he comes up with a huge throw, which that you never would do before. So he is learning, and congratulations to him. He grinded that win out in Minnesota on the road on Monday night. And I'll give this to the grinder, the CJ Beathard coming in when everything looked bad. He had no reps. Came in. That's the best I've ever seen him look in my life, and he beat Kyler Murray. That's the best I've seen him look. So it's obvious. It is obvious that coaching matters because it's Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson. It's obvious coaching matters because that's the best I've ever seen him look.
Of course. But anyway, guys, that does it for our Gauntlet Grinders for Week 13. We're watching the Gauntlet, part of the Sideline Sports Network. Guys, we don't really discuss college football that much, particularly on the show. But we're going to discuss it tonight, and I think this is going to be a really good conversation because there's been a lot of controversy surrounding the final.
No, you said half my.
Oh, did you go? Did you not go yet? Go ahead. Go ahead, Dom.
NFC, Sam Laporta, 9 catches, 140 yards, and a touchdown. This dude has been all world all season since he stepped onto the field. He might not be a Pro Bowler because screw the Pro Bowl and their popularity contest. He might be an All-Pro. It just seems like every time this dude catches a pass, it's on 3rd down, 5 yards before the sticks, but he gets a first down. AFC, Nico Collins. CJ Stroud has single-handedly made this dude look like a relevant receiver, which doesn't happen often when you're talking about University of Michigan receivers. Back to college football.
Yes, man. We don't really ever hardly discuss college on here except for when it comes to the NFL draft and things like that. But college football. It has been a lot of controversy surrounding this topic. Did the committee get it right? So, if I'm correct, Michigan, Washington made it, Alabama, and Texas. So, Michigan takes on Alabama, and Washington takes on Texas. Was this the correct decision by the committee when you have teams like Florida State that went undefeated, ACC champs, getting left out, even though they lost their quarterback for the season, Travis Hunter, I believe? And is that something that the committee got wrong? What do you guys think?
Well, I will tell you. I'll tell you this part. There's no what I can say whatsoever. There is absolutely no way Florida State should have missed, but I knew they would miss the minute I watched that game against Louisville. That quarterback was terrible. Third string quarterback, awful. Would have lost 38-7 in their game. The committee knew it. I knew they were done. Personally, to me, though, to me, the committee is going by TV ratings. They're going by TV ratings by themselves. It is like I knew very well throughout the year and every month. Now, Iowa got smacked by Michigan, obviously, but I'm talking about the Iowa-Minnesota game when they had a really bad call on a fair catch. That the TV does not want Iowa to ever go undefeated. Because what Florida State did, and I said this on Pundit last night, what Florida State did was show what would have happened to Iowa if they would have gone undefeated. Because Iowa won every game 13-10. It's like nobody on the committee wants to see that on television. They don't want to see 6-3 at halftime. So Florida State just showed what they would have done. Otherwise, Alabama beat the number one team in 29 in a row, so they deserve it.
Yep.
I think it sends a bad message. And at the end of the day, this system has been flawed, and it just kind of regurgitates something I've always said. It's always going to be somebody that shouldn't have that missed out. Because if it's about TV ratings, and you're telling these guys it's not about winning a championship, which is why they go to these schools, that's kind of really a bad message to send because Florida State should be in there. And we talk about what's the point of having the systems where you have the quadrant wins, the big wins, the conference wins, non-conference wins. All of those are supposed to factor in when you're making these decisions. You just basically said that didn't matter because I don't care if that quarterback may not have been good or whatever the case may be. They still got there because they did exactly what they were supposed to do. And we talk about saying not ratings. That Alabama LSU national championship many years ago when it was 9-3 was one of the greatest games ever because it was a good defensive effort. Their ratings didn't have any too much issues back then. And then the BCS championship happened where Colt McCoy got hurt and they played against Alabama. You didn't expect that, but at least you had a chance to prepare. Like there's been so many times where you can look over the years where you've bestly got it wrong. I'm
Well,
sorry. It didn't make sense that Florida State beat two teams that I believe are in this now.
Well,
And it's
JJ, one thing to real fast. Every year you said basically was before COVID. After COVID, you had young people and adults inside for 2 years, finding a different way to be entertained. It's a different time now. It's all going to be offense.
then you're
The
still sending a bad message. At the end of the day, you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. How
yeah.
many times can we look back in college football history and think something's supposed to happen and it dang happened? Shoot, the offensive coordinator in LA Chargers made his name off of something like this. Literally. And at the end of the day, like you just basically
Did
got
you?
it wrong. And I'm a Hurricane fan. I would never want to sit there and give Florida State credit or something, but they played their tails off and they did exactly what they're supposed to do. These teams are trying to get to national championships to win and get a chance to bring money to them. And they did what they were supposed to do. If this
Okay,
was Clemson,
so
would they have got in?
This
Probably
is
so.
why
okay, but did you just
this
say
is
that
why a
Florida
lot of
State?
us can't take college football seriously.
Did you say that Florida State beat people that are in the playoffs? Because I'm not sure if they played anybody from the playoffs
I
because
thought
they're in
they
the ACC.
No, they didn't. Their biggest
I
win
don't
all
think they.
year was either LSU early in the
Well, they
year
didn't. They did
or
beat
they
Michigan because
in the
Michigan went
conference title
undefeated,
game.
right?
They didn't really beat
And
anybody.
Alabama's only
let me
loss
go.
was to Texas. Washington went undefeated.
No, let me go
And
back. Hold on.
yeah,
Florida State didn't beat anybody, but they did beat everybody on their schedule, which should be all that matters. And should the ACC, like, if it were up to
but who
me,
are you gonna?
the
We
Power
can say
Five
all
would
this
become the
stuff
Power
about.
Four, and the first out
We can
is
say all
Florida
this stuff
State.
about who should Florida State beat everybody that went undefeated, this and that. But here's the part of the question that I don't think you guys are addressing. Who are you taking out? That's in. Are you going to take Washington out? Are you going to take Alabama out? That beat Georgia? That has 11 straight wins?
I'm
The
taking
only,
Alabama.
the only logical team that makes sense to take out is Texas. Because Texas is in solely because they beat Alabama the second week of the season. The Alabama team that's playing right now is not the same Alabama team that they played. So they got in off of that. If Georgia won, then I don't think Texas is in. If Georgia wins that game, then Florida State probably does make it.
Yeah, but the thing is, here's Denzel. The same season, 2011, the BCS national championship game between Alabama and LSU. Bama won 21-0. Was the lowest watched national championship game of the BCS era. Which that would be even worse if there was defensive thing now, especially in this era.
Championship game where it was 9-3. Maybe I'm tripping.
So here's the message that I want to send for Florida State.
Hence
though.
why 4 is not enough.
It is what it is. The committee made their decision.
Get in a better conference.
But you have an opportunity to prove to the world that you deserve to be in. Beat Georgia. Beat the team that, won 20-something straight games until that Alabama beat them the other day. Beat Georgia. And if Washington beats Texas, then that will show that the committee got it wrong. That will prove it. If those two things happen, I'll give it to them. But it's very difficult for me to say that you can take Alabama out as the SEC champ and won 11 straight games and just put Florida State in because they went undefeated. I'm taking Alabama over Florida State with no hesitation.
Oh yeah. Oh, it'd be 38-7.
So you're like the committee, and
But no, it'd be 38-7. It would be 38-7 without a shot with that. I'm not saying Florida State's bad. I'm saying that quarterback's not good. He couldn't keep up with them.
They would probably have no chance against Michigan.
You don't know that.
Well,
Michigan,
you talking about Alabama
based on what
versus
we've seen Michigan do this season,
Michigan almost lost to Ohio State. I mean, they were 6 points.
well, Ohio State's a good team. Ohio State usually always beats Michigan. They pretty much owned the series for the last.
I put Ohio
10,
State in
years.
over Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
No. Alabama 11 straight games. Alabama SEC champs beat Georgia. Nobody could beat Georgia. Georgia was smoking everyone the whole season. Alabama deserves to be in 100%.
Yeah, and
they
the thing about Georgia is I was saying all year long, Carson Beck is not Stetson Bennett. I knew that something was going to happen between
Check
that
your
time.
game.
Huh?
Check Georgia's schedule. They blew out most of their opponents.
Whatever. I don't give a crap about college football anyway. So now
here's the thing.
This situation just makes me sit back and laugh.
Well, he was saying 12-team playoff next season. Yes, it is. And you want to know why there's a 12-team playoff? Because of Notre Dame. They want Notre Dame around.
It was at 9-3. That was the first game 9-3 with LSU and Alabama in that season. But then they met again. Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
Okay. All right, guys. So next topic that we got. Trevor Lawrence suffers a high ankle sprain against the Bengals on Monday night. He's considered day-to-day. The Jaguars are right there in the thick of things, trying to get that top seed. But that loss definitely is going to hurt them. And then, whatever happens moving forward with Jacksonville is going to affect things. And I don't think this late in the season, even if Trevor comes back, the chance of being him 100%, how high is it that? How high of a chance would you give it that he is going to be 100%? It's very difficult for me to say that, and for that reason, I don't really like the Jaguars' chances of making that much noise in the playoffs. I think that due to Trevor's health and a lot of other question marks that the team has, I don't see them being able to be that team in the AFC that can say, yes, you know what? They can go out and they can play Kansas City, Baltimore, Miami, all these great teams that are, possibly going to be Super Bowl contenders in the AFC. I think the Jaguars are in a little bit of trouble. Injury came at a bad time.
Yeah. There's there's no question. And you got to remember, they're right in the thick. AFC's got a really thick deal right now where you've got Denver's trying to sneak in through defense. They're trying to sneak in through defense and trying to get to that thing. They're trying to get those whatsoever. We don't know what's going to happen with KC because Matt Nagy's an idiot. I should have put him as a sports moron. I mean, you don't know that whatsoever. We don't. I mean, it's an unpredictable. And then you got C.J. Beathard. I mean, if he's going to be the backup, I mean, congratulations for looking that great. They're going to have a week. If they got a week to take care of him, he'll have 3 interceptions the next game. So
It's interesting. It's so sad, and I wish he was available. I hope he is available, and I think they have talent around them, but it's so unfortunate. But we don't know yet. We'll see what happens. Just today with medical advancements and technology, it does allow you to heal a little bit faster than normal. So we'll see. But you just have to see how they'll look that first game without him to really, really know. Because if they look decent and they, let's say, are in the game until the very end and they just lose or like a field goal or maybe make a one critical mistake, it's one of those things where you're like, okay, maybe they can do it because Doug Peterson is a great game call player. He's a great guy and know how to call the perfect game plan in spite of whatever is around him. I mean, at the end of the day, he made his name off of having a backup quarterback coming into his system, and they were using that for the rest of the way. So if there's anybody that has a chance to do it, it's the coach over here at the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we're going to see what happens now.
Okay. So they start the schedule with going to Cleveland, and then they play Baltimore at home. That's 2 very, very tough games for them to
Good
play.
test. Good.
So if they could very well lose both of those games. And if they do, I would say that they're in a little bit of trouble.
Oh yeah, and I mean, there's always going to be
but then they got the Bucks, the Panthers, and the Titans.
Well, I'm saying the NFC is pretty predictable in comparison. AFC is going to be a crazy deal, but by itself, that's why Jacksonville can be in trouble because if you don't have the right guys, someone's going to sneak up on them. But 2 or 3 will.
That's where coaching comes into play.
Oh yeah.
That's where it comes to coaching, and like I said, when Nick Foles came in for him with Philadelphia, Nick may have had that one stretch earlier in his year with Chip Kelly, but after that, when he left the Eagles, he was kind of a dude that everybody was like, okay, you got to deal with him. Maybe you can win a game or two. I'm just saying, like, if there's anyone that I think would have a really decent chance of weathering a storm like this, it is Doug Peterson. Because I've seen the type of game plan that he's called. It's pretty nice.
And he got a Super Bowl with the Ultimate Storm.
Pretty nice. You can't look at that team. They still have ETN. They still have Evan Ingram. I think it's unfortunate what happened to Christian Kirk because that is not exactly the best piece to lose. But they do have, Zay Jones back. Their defense is playing, being decent. They're not bad. There's still play pieces there. We just have to see.
Well, to tell you this part, there's no question of this. Kirk's out. This is the unfortunate part of saying this because I don't usually like to do it for injuries. But whoever has Ridley on for the playoffs, they're going to start eating right now.
There you go. That's Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, they're going to start eating regardless. And I'll tell you who else will eat if it is C.J. Beathard. It's going to be Evan Ingram. Because C.J. Beathard's going to just throw to him 14 times a game.
Evan is already eating as it is with this team. It's going to be change.
He's eating as it is. But what I'm saying is that there would be times that it take breaks. He got the ball 5 times in overtime.
But I can tell you this: they're not going to put the ball. They're not going to put the ball in CJ's hands if they can get away from it. I think that ETN is going to be the one that is going to get more touches. I believe.
He will, but like it is. I hear you, Jacob, but I mean, if you look at the games, and the reason why I know this personally is because one of my favorite people to bet on was Evan Ingram. See, that was part of Trevor Lawrence's part of his game as well. I mean, I understand what you're saying with that, but I'm saying like he was already getting that production. But I do agree with more so with James and that Travis Etienne's production should increase. So if you guys are out there betting, and you see them rushing yards and them rushing attempts, you know.
Yeah.
You heard it
No
from the man
question.
himself, man. All right. Dom, do you have anything else to add?
They've just got to weather this storm the next couple games. If they can win one of those two games against the Browns and the Ravens, you got the Bucks, the Panthers, and the Titans to finish the season. They should win all three of those, so they'll be okay. Are they going to end up with the number one seed? Hell no. Were they ever going to if Trevor Lawrence was healthy? Hell no. They're going to win their division, maybe surprise someone in the first round, and that's it.
Well, you know something?
They might not win at all because they're not going to get Chargers.
Well, guess what? That makes them look good for the next year. It gives people hope if you get a surprise thing, whatever. As far as the playoff, it gives you a little bit of hope for the next year. Of course, they're not going to get it, but it also gets you a chance in the free agency market.
Well, I mean, how do they not have hope already? They won a playoff game last year when no one expected them to. They played a very competitive game with Kansas City and
I
lost.
did.
Kansas City went on to win the Super Bowl. So, I mean, I think we're already past that point.
Right? Oh yeah, but that's the thing about it is KC is. And I'm just saying this about KC. They are complete and utter proof that what I've been saying about Nagy the whole time whatsoever. The Mahomes is the best quarterback in the AFC, if not the whole thing. He is the best, and he is having trouble with Nagy. He's having trouble with the guy. I mean, they look completely shoddy compared to Bieniemy. Absolutely shoddy, and
Well,
it's
they also have no talent at the receiver position.
that is true. Well, they never do. I mean, because Andy Reid loves showing RB6, running back six,
They have the
to get
four of
80
us
yards
and
in 7
Rasheed
catches.
Rice playing wide receiver.
Well, they had last year. I think losing Juju was an underrated thing for them because even though Juju wasn't really spectacular, he was a veteran. He was a guy that knew how to play, and he made key plays for them down the stretch of the season. And they don't really have a true veteran presence there, so I think that's something that's created a lot of issues for the Chiefs.
I mean,
Well,
Rasheed Rice is starting to get a little bit with Patrick Mahomes, but I mean, the true strength of this team, and I've kind of notched this all year long on the offensive side, is going through those running backs. You go through Pacheco. What they're missing is having McKinnon because McKinnon was the perfect pass catch. And if you look at what those games against like the Jets or those games against like those tough defenses where they've had to overcome, those running backs played a huge part at having that team being able to overcome. I think that's the one reason why I'm not too. If I have to be honest, what I'm worried about if I was to face that team is those running backs because you can win games by off the backs of Isaiah Pacheco. He is proving that.
but
He
he's
is
out this
showing
week
that.
too. He's out this week too, though.
But then now you have to rely on Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jared McKinnon. But anytime you have Mahomes, you have a chance. Like you just have a chance. Like at the end of the day, I will say the last quarterback that I can honestly say I said that about, despite Tom Brady, was Peyton Manning. It's the same deal with him. You put anybody in place, and he's going to have. It may take some time. It may be ugly. It may be a little bit of but he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out.
That's very, very true. But the one big thing, see, the difference with Bieniemy and Nagy is this part, and this is the truth. Is when you had Bieniemy, you might have running back 6 get 7 catches and 80 yards, and you never knew who the guy was, never heard of him hardly. I mean, I would say he's the Noah Gray of running backs. It was that kind of idea. Nagy doesn't have that skill. It's the and with him not having that skill, it shows off that those wide receivers do not have that do not have the same skill position. It's because you couldn't cover it up anymore.
If you had to bet on one of these three teams to make it to the Super Bowl, Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs, Miami Dolphins, who's the most likely team out of those three to make it?
Anyone
Baltimore.
that bets on anyone but the Chiefs is a fool.
Baltimore, and
Baltimore.
It's because I love Miami for the future. I love what McDaniel's bringing there. I've always said this, but Baltimore because I used to say remember I've been with the sideline 3-4 years. I've said the whole time I did not like him with Roman whatsoever, Lamar, because it was always going to get shot down in the playoffs. It was just the same four Tecmo Super Bowl plays at all times, and you get caught with a good defense. Todd Monken's got him doing more, so yes, he can make the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I
In order
have
for the
I have
Ravens to get
reservations.
there, Lamar would have to get
reservations.
more than one playoff.
I have reservations about the game against Kansas City Chiefs, but I think
In order for Miami
we can beat them. But at the end of
to
the
make
day,
the only obvious.
Dom?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was waiting for you. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was just saying, in order for Baltimore to get there, Lamar Jackson would have to have consecutive playoff wins, which he has not done. In order for Miami to get there, they would have to have consecutive wins against teams with records over 500, which they have not done. The only answer is KC. I would give Baltimore a small outside chance as a second team, but
for you,
KC for me.
Things change, but
and Baltimore might be the best team in the AFC.
For you, I mean, playoff wins. I'm not sure you knew about them, but I understand why you brought it. I understand what you brought up for a reason. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think we can beat anybody. I'll be very honest with you. I think we can beat anybody. But the reason why I give my team a lot of credit is because hold on, look at their schedule. They ain't got no choice but to bring it. And if you want to have a chance to be able to be prepared for the playoffs, you better play playoff level competition all the way through. And they are playing playoff competition all the way through. And some very good defenses and offenses. So this team is going to be tested in two different ways. The Jacksonville Jaguars, great on both sides, but really great on offense. Good. San Francisco
Probably without
49ers.
Trevor Lawrence, though.
We don't know. We don't know what can happen. I'm not going to say he's not going to be playing. We just don't know. Same with San Francisco 49ers. If there's a team that looks just like Baltimore, it's the San Francisco 49ers. So those teams are going to be perfect to see how each other because they do the exact same thing. They literally do the exact same thing. But the one thing I could sit here and say the reason why I think the Baltimore Ravens might actually get over is that their offense actually is not bad. Their offense actually can move the football. Mark Andrews is gone, but we still continue to push and move the football. All it takes is just these guys to figure it out. And at the end of the day, I think it's going to come down to Baltimore and KC. But, we just going to see what's up. We're going to see what's up.
Tyler, here's the thing with Miami-San Francisco deal. You're talking to somebody who loves Miami. I may be number 2 with the Miami thing behind Shearer. And you can't be number 1 past Shearer. Let's try to say that right now. When it comes to Miami. But I'm probably number 2. I love what McDaniel's doing. But they're in a situation where they have to learn how to beat better teams. And you know something? They could possibly do it next year or into the future. They could really do it as long as they keep building on it. But they're not ready for a San Francisco yet. I just don't believe it yet. But I believe they've got a great future ahead.
For who?
Well, I wouldn't be turning in my card on San Francisco winning the NFC just yet. They may have kicked the Eagles' ass, but the Eagles will be ready for them when they play them again.
No doubt.
I promise you that.
No doubt.
Promise you they will. We've seen a lot of teams. We've seen a lot of teams get their ass kicked in the regular season, and it was a different result in the playoffs.
I will say this, Tyler. I'm not Tyler, to Denzel, to Jay. In order for it to go through Arrowhead, they're going to need some help. And they're going to need some help. It's not through Arrowhead yet, bro. They got to need some help. They just might have to go on the road. Might.
I mean, the Chiefs are a team that everyone talks about them in the regular season, and when they get to the playoffs, they're a completely different team. How many years has this happened where people were starting to panic about the Chiefs?
No, I don't know if it's about panic.
It's like you guys need to finally learn the lesson and say, if you have Andy Reid and you have Patrick Mahomes and other people don't, That's the outlier. That's the outlier. These guys are winners, and they know how to win.
They do.
These other teams don't have that experience.
They
So
do.
until they get
Andy,
it, I can't bet against it.
no, you're correct. They do. But the biggest difference is no be enemy. It's a big, giant deal, especially when they scored under 20 points in certain games this year, which they never did before. It's going to be a bit of a different
I
deal.
think, but I thought they did win a Super Bowl under Nagy though.
No, it wasn't under Nagy. It was under with B enemy, and that Nagy was making their coffee. He was making their coffee and getting.
How long was Nagy your coach of Chicago?
Yeah, I know he was. Oh yeah, unfortunately, I'm
How
saying.
long? I mean, when did he start?
Unfortunately, 4 years.
Hold on, Jacob. I'm trying to answer this question. When did he start as your coach?
2018.
So 2017 was that Mahomes' first year?
Yep.
Yes.
But he didn't start.
Got it.
Yeah, no. Nagy makes a great espresso and goes to the laundry and go pick up pick everything up. He doesn't do anything with that thing, and now that you get him with anything, it's failing.
Fair enough, guys. Well, that's enough football talk for tonight. Let's go to our non-sports topic for the month of December. We're going to do some Christmas topics, starting with your favorite Christmas movie. Does anybody want to start us off?
Absolutely.
I would love to. Go ahead.
JJ.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jacob. I want to hear this one.
Absolutely, Die Hard.
God damn, you took my movie. I was going to say that too.
I know, Die Hard.
Damn.
But if you go to a traditional one, I like. I despise and utterly despise a Christmas movie, but a Christmas Story. Despise it. But if we're gonna go to a traditional one, gotta go Home Alone or National Lampoons.
I was going to sit there and say Die Hard too, but I was going to say if we're going to do other, I would say A Nightmare Before Christmas. I love that movie. As a kid, it was one of my favorite movies to watch, even though they were kind of scary looking creatures. But it's definitely Die Hard, and yes, we're definitely going there because I love all the Die Hards. Yippee yay, motherfucker! Excuse my language. Oh, my bad. Sorry, but yes.
No.
Yippee yay. Sorry about that. Beat me out. Boop.
Yeah, we're just gonna get that bleeped out. I'm also gonna go with Home Alone. I was actually watching Home Alone last night.
Of course.
And I love the fact that the kid, Kevin, he plays that movie or whatever with the guy when the pizza man shows up and he's like, your pizza's like $20 or whatever. And then he plays the thing where the guy's shooting the gun and he's like, now get off my property, you filthy animal.
Yep. Yeah.
And then he starts shooting the gun and then like he scared the shit out of the pizza guy.
He was the coolest
I love
kid
that part.
when he was growing up.
I hate Elf also, Cowboy. I hate Elf.
I think when that movie came out, I don't know, pretty or some of y'all were
No
older,
good
but
keister
all
off
of
my
us
property
kids-
before I pump your guts full of lead. 1,
Yeah, that's
2,
it.
10.
But I think as a kid, we all wanted to be that.
I saw that in the theater.
We all wanted to be that. Like I wanted my parents to forget me for a trip so I can have fun like that too. I ain't gonna lie to you. I did when I saw that.
Home Alone's definitely a great choice.
You don't like Christmas movies, Jacob? Why?
What Christmas
What's
Story?
your beef with Elf?
Oh, I loved Elf's ending because I love her voice. But the whole, I just cannot. I'm not into the unrealistic fantasy thing of a 6'4" elf. Looking for James Caan.
How did we not even mention? I feel so bad because I love this guy. How did I even not mention the Grinch? Literally did not understand.
That's a good one.
That's a very fun.
Because
I'm not too a goofy. I'm not into a goofy 6'4" elf sitting on Bob Newhart's lap.
No, not the Jim Carrey one.
No. I love the Jim Carrey one. You don't like the Jim Carrey one?
No, my favorite part of Elf is the one where
no.
He's in
obviously, I love the Grinch and I love Jim Carrey.
Oh, okay, good.
He's in the room with the guy who's supposed to be the boss, like the little midget guy, and he keeps calling him an elf, and he's like, "Well, call me an elf one more time. I got plasma screen TV in all my rooms in my house." And then he jumps across the table and he beats the hell out of him.
Will Ferrell gets
He's an angry elf.
Will Ferrell gets the crap beat out of him in every movie. That's the whole point of it. But
yeah, Well, I
But
got no problem with Elf.
No, but my thing would probably be Die Hard. I'm gonna say that. I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I
Like
guess
Jay
I would
said,
have to go with
it's
Home
the only
Alone. But
acceptable.
there's some other good ones. What about like a cartoon? What about like Frosty Snowman
Bad
or
Santa.
Rudolph or
Charlie Brown.
something like that?
Frozen. That's Christmas.
I guess.
No. But I like Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yeah, Charlie Brown classic.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
man.
it. So what about you? So Dom, is yours? What would you say yours is totally?
Oh, it's Die Hard by far.
No, yeah.
It's the only right answer. Like
You guys
Jay
all
said.
said
Which Die Hard?
You guys all said Die Hard, and Jay said Die Hard.
The first
Did y'all
one.
like the latest one? Because I know a lot of people didn't like it because they thought it was kind of unrealistic, but all of them kind of were. But like, you know how he was with the one, he was help rescuing his son, and they were on a mission, and then they had to go to Chernobyl, and it was like. But I loved all the Die Hards.
Unrealistic. You're talking about the very first movie when he's a 6'3"
The Pecky
guy
one with
crawling
Justin
through
Long?
it.
No, that
He's a 6'3" guy crawling through a shaft that he
That
couldn't fit
first
in if it
one
wasn't
was-
for a set.
That first one is iconic, but that second one,
if Bruce Willis is 6'3", then I'm 7 feet tall because Bruce Willis is about 5'8".
Okay, you're right. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Maybe
Bruce
I
Willis
think
is a lot of things. Tall, not big.
No, well, and he's also, but we know the thing. But I'm saying though, it's like that shaft. The point of it, you're right. But that the shaft that he has to go through, crawl through by itself. It's like the whole point of the movie is unrealism.
but it was neat. It was cunning. It was a good movie.
Yes. Oh no, wonderful movie. Love it.
Alan Rickman, man.
Oh no. Hans is awesome. Hans is the smoothest.
And Tony Todd wasn't bad either. I like him. Tony Todd wasn't bad either.
Right.
Tony Todd wasn't bad either. But those are my favorite. But I did say my favorite one is the one I think with Thomas Gabriel. And taking with what's the boy's name? That wasn't Jeepers Creepers. I forgot his name. I think his name Justin Long or Justin something. But he
Justin Long. You're talking about that Pecky one? That was terrible.
I loved it with
Terrible.
his daughter. I loved it because you got to see his daughter. Like I liked seeing her little attitude and stuff, and how he was trying to make amends with her and stuff. It was fun. It was fun. It was fun.
Okay, it says Bruce Willis is 6 foot, but maybe it's just maybe here's the deal. Probably not, but maybe it's just because he looks taller than a lot of the other actors.
Okay. Fair enough, guys. All right, well, that wraps up for another episode of the
James
Gauntlet.
Evans. James
He
Evans.
looks tall
That's
standing
right.
next to Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise.
Good times. No, not that James Evans.
I would like to thank everybody that tuned in tonight, and we would like to thank everybody that supports the show and watches the show every single week. Appreciate you guys. I also want to say shout out to Jacob for being on the show tonight. Jacob, do you want to say anything before you go?
Oh, I appreciate it all the time. I always put you guys. I always say when they're asking where we come from and everything, I always say that when I'm off the bench, I'm always here for the Gauntlet. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
this
sir.
This is my 17th episode, so that tells you how long it's been. And it's like, and I know you guys have had over 100. I know that, so I'm just saying it tells you that I'm off the bench when needed.
Yes, sir, man. You're one of the best 6 men that we could ask for.
Appreciate it.
All right,
you better
guys.
believe it, Denzel. You better believe it, Denzel. I'm a big James Evans fan.
And hopefully Jay gets back next week, and we have some more stuff to
Appreciate
discuss.
everybody.
All right, guys. We will see you later.